Hello friends! Harry's coming home today, and when he's been gone for like about a week, when he comes home, I like to have a nice meal prepared for him because he hasn't had home cooked food in like a week. And also I like to have some kind of, I don't know, a little treat. Not like a dessert that, you know, you make and it's enough for like dinner and it's pretty basically gone like after dinner, but something that you can nibble on for a couple days. And I've been making all sorts of cookies, obviously, since Christmas. I got a cough. I think my allergies are acting up again. But getting back to cookies, I was thinking, oh, what kind of cookie am I hungry for, but that everybody kind of likes? And that I will share with you guys because it's unique. And I'm sure that probably everybody listening to this video, unless you're from Northeast Ohio, you have probably never heard of these cookies. And they don't even go by a different name either, because I've lived in Washington, D.C., I've lived in Virginia, I've lived in Illinois, I've lived in Ohio, I've lived here. Plus, I've traveled around with my husband. I've never seen these cookies anywhere except in Northeast Ohio. But they're called Chinese cookies. Don't ask me why they're called Chinese cookies, because the recipe wasn't invented in China. Probably wasn't even invented by a Chinese person, and it has absolutely nothing to do with Chinese anything. So why they call them Chinese cookies, I don't know. Really, what they are is, sorry for the cough, they're a shortbread cookie. They're pretty thick. They're about, you can get them anywhere from like, it's hard to get them down to a 1/4 inch thick. Usually it goes up to almost like a 1/2 inch thick. Some people make them like 3/4 of an inch thick. But anyway, it's a shortbread cookie. It's rolled in nuts, so when you slice them, you'll have nuts on the outside. And then after they've cooled, then we melt chocolate and we put chocolate on them. So if you like chocolate on anything and you like shortbread cookies, you will like these Chinese cookies. And if you don't like nuts in your cookies, you can leave the nuts out if you want. So anyway, I just turned my oven on. I got a few dishes to wash up, and then I'm going to get making these cookies. I'll show you the ingredients. I'll show you how to do it, and all the way till they're finished, and hopefully you will try them. I think if you try them, you will want to make them again and again and again. And if anybody is watching this and you live somewhere other than Northeast Ohio and you've heard of these cookies, then let me know what you guys call them. But seriously, I've met people from all over the place. When we've lived in other states, we've had neighbors that come from all different parts of the country. And I have made these cookies for years. And these neighbors and friends, even people that I worked with in Illinois, when I would take these cookies to them, nobody ever heard of them. So that's why I think I'm kind of wondering if it was something that one of the bakeries in Northeast Ohio, you know, they made them and they would put them out at their stores. And I'll tell you, in Northeast Ohio, in Youngstown, Ohio, they used to sell them at most all grocery stores, but there's this one grocery store chain. It's called Sparkles Market, and at Sparkles, their bakery, those are the only people that I know that make these cookies. So that's why I say I think it's something that's just to that location, but somebody, you know, obviously got the recipe, they shared it. My mom was the one that got it because I used to buy these cookies all the time when I lived there because they're so good. And then when we moved to Virginia and then Illinois, and every time we'd go back to visit my parents, I would always buy these cookies and bring them back home. And one year, my mom, she made them for Christmas. I said, where'd you get the recipe? She goes, one of my friends, they gave it to me. And it tastes exactly just like these cookies. So maybe somebody who used to make these at the store bakery decided that they would share it. Okay, your ingredients are going to be very simple for this. First of all, you're going to need 2 pieces of wax paper. and I just go ahead and cut them and pull them out like this. You're going to need 2 eggs, 5 cups of flour, and I know that seems like it's a lot of flour, but these are kind of big cookies, and it'll make quite a bit too. I have 1½ teaspoon of salt and 1½ teaspoons of baking soda. We need 2½ cups of Crisco, and you cannot use butter. This is, like I said, it's a shortbread, and shortbread is called shortbread because it uses shortening and not butter. So you can't use butter with this. It has to be shortening. So 2½ cups of Crisco, and then 2 cups of sugar, or 2 eggs. Then you're going to need some nuts. Now I finely chopped 2 cups of nuts, but I'm the kind of person, I use chopped nuts, you know, frequently, not a whole lot, but frequently. And one thing I don't want to be doing every time that I have a recipe that I need chopped nuts is to pull out my, food processor and chop nuts up. So what I do is I chop nuts for what I know that I'm going to need, but I do extra, and then I put them in a little Ziploc baggie. So I would say you're probably going to need at least 1 cup of nuts, but if you do a little bit more like that, like I said, you can put it in a little Ziploc baggie and save it for the next time you need chopped nuts. So I'm going to get all of this cream together, add my eggs next, and then start adding my dry ingredients. Okay, if you've ever made shortbread before, this is going to be a familiar sight to you. It's like, big crumbles, but that's okay because when you squeeze it, you see how it will it will form however you squeeze it, okay? So I'm just going to go through my dough, give it a little pinch, and yes, this is the hand that I coughed in, but yes, I washed my hands before I did this. I mean, you can pull this out onto your counter or whatever and, mold it all together. I just do it here in my bowl. Then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take 1 of my wax paper sheets. And I'm going to take my nuts, so let me put it here so hopefully you can see. I'm going to grab a handful of nuts and start coming down here in the center. Just do a line of nuts. And I'm going to take half of this dough, I'm going to roll it in a log, and I'm going to put it on top of these nuts. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to continue rolling it back and forth on here so that it gets covered with nuts. And if I need more, I just put my hand in here, get more nuts until the logs have a coating of nuts on them. Okay, I have 1 log here. You want a firm log. As you start putting this all together and try rolling it out, you might get some air pockets in your dough. So I just, roll it a little bit. Then let me show you here. Then I'll take it and I'll push it in, and then I roll it again and push it in and roll it again. You just kind of want to knead it and work it like that. Then when I get it in a log shape, just to make sure I got all the air out, what I do is I take it and I flatten it. So I can feel the firmness of this. So after I've done that, then I can start pulling it together with my hands like so. So you can see it kind of forms it back into a log like that. And then I'll just give it a little roll just to make sure, I get all my fingerprints out of there and everything. And then you get a nice firm log like that. So here is this log here, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of nuts on top of this as well, just a little bit. I'm going to push it and kind of pack it in there, and then you're just going to roll, just like that. Now, a lot of those nuts, they stuck on there, so I'm going to put some nuts over here. I'm going to put some nuts back over here, and just roll it like that. I want the whole thing coated with nuts, as much as possible anyway. And you might have to take it and smooth it over or push it down pull this up like this, you know, just keep rolling it. So you can see what that looks like. Then I'm going to close up my sides and bring the wax paper over and secure it like that. These logs have to go in to the refrigerator, and you have to chill them for about an hour. It's not, you know, rocket science, you know. People say, oh, it has to be chilled an hour. I have made things that people have said you have to chill it an hour, or you have to chill it half of a day, or whatever. But you know what? I always go back sometimes sooner, and I make it, and it's just as good. So anyway, you can chill it for an hour. You can walk away, go do some errands, go grocery shop, and do whatever you do. Come back home, you know, a couple hours later, or get done cleaning a couple hours later. Slice it. It doesn't matter. You can come back in 45 minutes. It doesn't matter. So anyway, you just want to chill it a little bit, at least an hour. Let me just say it that way. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them in the fridge. I'm going to walk away from here. I got some light dusting to do. I'm going to tidy up my bathroom down here. Probably vacuum, you know, and just do a few little things. I'll be back probably about an hour or so, and then I'm going to bake these cookies. They have to bake at, I think it's 350, yeah, 350 for 12 minutes, but I'll be back to show you how to slice them, get them on your trays, and so forth. Okay, I've got one tray of cookies in the oven, and I'm starting the next log. What I do is I take the ends and I just snip the ends off just so that you get like a nice flat surface. And I come over here and I just eyeball it where it's about half of an inch thick, and then just make your slices like that. And these will spread out. So you want to make sure that you have a nice gap between them. And what I want to show you is this. When you get down for like a third row, normally like if you were making, you know, chocolate chip cookies or peanut butter cookies, you could put like, you know, three like scoops of cookie dough there. But because these are bigger and these are going to spread out, what I do is instead of doing a complete third row with 4, I put where they're like in between the cookies. So I come about like that. And these are going to bake for 12 minutes. I forgot to actually put my timer on. But they're going to go 350 for 12 minutes. Then when they come out, you're going to make sure that you get them completely cooled. Then you're going to melt chocolate. Okay, I just took my cookies out and stuck the other tray in. So now I've got to let these cool down completely. So normally what I do, I just wait till they cool down and I'll lay them out here on my island. And then I do the same till all the cookies are done. And then I wait till that last tray is cooled. And then that's when I'll melt my chocolates. And I use the chocolate melts because they dry quicker. And the chocolate melts are a little bit softer when you bite into the chocolate. Chocolate chips, they get really firm for some reason. But anyway, that's just what I use. And I like to use a mixture of the dark chocolate with the milk chocolate. So that's why I brought both of those up from my storage area. Okay, here's a shot of all my cookies. And I want to say that the majority of these are, let's see, from this knuckle to that knuckle, it's supposed to be an inch. That's how we learned it in school. So it'd be 1, 2, 2.5 to 3 inches across is the measurement of the majority of these cookies. So they're a good sized cookie, like I was trying to tell you. I've got my chocolate melted, and we need to put the chocolate on. But first, let me tell you about these cookies. It's just like with any kind of shortbread. When you take it out of the oven, you have to let them set a couple minutes. Even if you try taking them off of the tray and they've been sitting there for a minute, that still isn't long enough. You're still going to jeopardize by the time that, you know, you're taking your spatula, whoops, you have a cookie. You know how you will angle it down to slide the cookie off? Even doing that, you can cause those cookies to break. So you really need to let them set up for about 5 minutes, or these cookies take, depending on your oven, they take anywhere from 12 to 14 minutes. While one cookie tray is baking, you have another one cooling. When you get about the last 3 minutes of bake time of the tray that's in the oven, that's when you, so it'd be 10 minutes then that those cookies were cooling. That's what I'm saying. Then you can take them off. They'll be nice and set, and then that still gives you plenty of time to, you know, take your other slices and prepare your tray for when the timer goes off, okay? So anyhow, that is the key to these. Do not move these cookies while they're hot at all. So you get your melted chocolate, and then you put it here like that, just in the center like that. Okay, and there they are. All right, the chocolate is all set, so let me show you. I'll take a bite, and then I'll show you what it's like on the inside too. So anyway, now you can see really good in there now. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!